Hi, I'm Rosie and welcome to my channel. I'm a lawyer practicing in Western Australia, but this isn't legal advice. So today I would like to just quickly talk about legal counselling and legal strategies. They're two things that I talk about to my clients, and sometimes that's all we talk about. Now, legal counselling is really important, and I think one of the reasons why clients fall out with their lawyers or just don't like the lawyer is because I'm not sure how young lawyers are nowadays. They are probably not as strict as lawyers were a few years back. But there are a lot of lawyers where you go to see them and all you get is the law. They never talk about they don't care about your feelings, and they come across as being really cold and uncaring. But as a lawyer, you're supposed to deal with the law and resolve your client's problem with the law. Everything else is like, who cares? And I get this feeling that um, more recently admitted lawyers are actually a lot more in tune with the fact that clients need a lot more from a lawyer than just the law. But a lot of what I do when you start talking to a client and you know that there's something else going on, and you know that this legal matter has overtaken their life. They are no longer doing the things that they would normally do. They're no longer enjoying life. They're losing relationships. They're not talking to friends that they used to talk to. For some, it's a matter of, oh, once this is finished, I'll do it. And for others, it's they just don't want to hear about it anymore. They're over it. I, I don't know how to talk about anything else because this is it. My life has gone down to being this one thing. And there's also those clients who want to go through to trial to talk about what's happened to them and essentially have the court kiss the boo-boo better. And of course, the problem with going to trial is, a judge isn't going to give you all of these warm fuzzies. The judge is going to give you the law. So the judgment will be based on the arguments that they've heard, and the longer that the trial is, the harder it is for them to really remember all of the important bits and to really prioritise them. So all you get is the law, and you may not get the best decision either. If all judges got it right all the time, guess what? We wouldn't have appeals courts. Anyway, with legal counselling, I try to help people to look past the legal issue, and you kind of start with, well, what should it look like? What do you think it'll look like when you're done? How do you think you're going to be better off if you do this or if you do that? And then we bring in legal strategies for, does this even have to go to trial? Is there something that we can do to hold off going to trial? Because even when you have a matter where you know you're going to win in court, at best it's a 50-50 proposition before you start trial, and you don't know what the other side's going to do, and you don't know what the decision maker's going to be like on the day. Everybody has bad days. How long's the trial going to be? What else has happened? It's a really tough thing, and no lawyer should ever say, oh, this thing's in the bag. So most lawyers will try to make sure that matters settle before court, because it's a better outcome for everybody, and keep the court tied up on the big things where they are needed. That's not to say that you know, court isn't needed. It's just sometimes people keep going, not for anything other than they've already invested so much time and effort in getting this done that they don't want to back off. So, you know, it's always good to unravel the emotions and to acknowledge that they exist. And then with some people, you know that what they've gone through has damaged them. So then you need to, I will refer them to a psychologist. Say, you need to go and see a psychologist because what you're saying here, that's indicative of a real big problem, and you need to see someone with more training and better qualifications, and preferably someone who can be a witness in court. So let's find one of these psychologists. So we just try to help get people into a place where they're not dropping everything in life, and that is legal counselling. So I use all of my knowledge of the legal process, and I know that some people, especially self-representing litigants, worry about the oddest things. So it's talking about those fears. I mean, I know someone who is always worried that, what's the other side thinking? Well, you don't need to know what the other side's thinking. That's not your problem. So you unravel that for people. And yeah, that's pretty much legal counselling. I think it's worth it. I know that I found my lawyer, my first lawyer. So there were two legal teams I had. One was for the actual case, and then one was for when we sued the bank. And the first lawyer was, yeah, all you got was the law and very little else. And I think had zero people skills. It was just, it wasn't a good experience all round. So having a legal matter is never a good experience, but let's talk about some of the things so that you then get clarity and you have that reduced stress. And I think that's one of the things that's really important, to reduce the stress so that you get clarity on what you need to do and you can function properly. And of course, live your life. If you're going to be going through this court system for 10 years, you can't say, oh, I'll do that when I'm done with this. And I know one gentleman who's been doing this for 30 years. That's a long time to be going through the court on the same issue. It's, I have some very interesting conversations with him. Obviously, he's not a client of mine, but he's been self-representing, and, it's really interesting. And some of the more obscure laws that, they're not always easy to find, and he seems to have found a lot of them. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I just thought that I'd put out a video talking about legal counselling, talking about how you're coping with this, and legal strategies. What else can we do instead of? And there's lots of things that can be done. And yeah, I haven't really thought about how to finish this video, so I'm just going to go, I think that's it. Which is probably a good way to finish it anyway, because I'm only human and it's early on a Sunday morning, and yeah, let's get it done. You have a great day, night, week, weekend, and don't forget, you work to live, you don't live to work. Enjoy it, and keep up with your family and friends because they're not around as long as we would hope. Anyway, I'll catch you later.